And welcome to the Football Manc Cave chats with Dave Black, the Championship Manager Extraordinaire, is what I'm going to call you. How are you, Dave? You okay?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, sure. So I was locked down. I know we were just saying beforehand. You got is it a 7-month-old?
Yeah, he's 7 months next week. So lockdown, obviously, it's not great, but it's working out quite well in terms of I'm getting to spend more time with the family. So it's making the best of it, really.
Yeah, that's it. You make the best of a bad situation as it is.
Yeah.
Plenty of champ manager.
Yeah, once he's asleep.
Constantly rocking and getting down. So the main thing, I followed you on Twitter for quite a while now, and my main thing has always been why champ manager 97-98.
It's a couple of things, really. I mean, it's a game I played a lot growing up. I guess when it came out, it was the game of our time because it was free. Once someone bought it, you could share it around everyone else. So
yeah.
we used to play it a lot on a night. We always play out, playing football, whatever, until 7-8 o'clock, and then we'd pile in one of the lads' houses and we'd just play this same game. And this computer was pretty old, so we played it for maybe 4 or 5 years. So I ended up knowing it inside out. And it's been one of those things where I've always gone back to it through probably in sixth form and uni and things. It was always I've got an hour to kill and I'll just have a quick game here and there. So it's just always been there in the background. And as you get older, of course, it becomes apparent that some of the players on there weren't going to become the superstars that they were sometimes penciled in to be, and that kind of made its own backstory. So once it kind of became old enough for it to be funny, it kind of wrote itself from a blog point of view. So that's how it all came about. And
then for me, I always used to play Premier Manager on the I think it was the Amstrad or something like that. I think it was something really old. I remember beginning with it might be Amigo. I can't remember. But I used to play that, and then I went into LMA Manager, and it came out in '98, and I was hooked on that for about 10 years, and it stopped in 2007 and never continued. I was devastated.
Yeah, there's been so many great management sims down the years. I mean, you mentioned, the Amiga and whatever going back. I mean, I used to play. I couldn't even tell you the name of them, but I used to have a green screen Amstrad in my room when I was maybe 5 or 6, something like that. And I had I basically inherited this box of games from, I think, my grand's next door neighbour who'd gone off to uni, and he'd left this box of games behind and said, I don't want them anymore. So I was just playing through these games, and some of them were so basic, but you'd still spend hours on them. So it's kind of always been a thing that it's been there.
I remember the old Amstrad. You had the tape, didn't you, to load it?
Yeah.
You had to press a couple of buttons, and it was just come on, work.
It's kind of hit and miss. So there was a lot of games. I used to play a load of Dizzy and is it Rainbow Islands and things on the Commodore, and some of them. Yeah. Sometimes they'd load, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they'd load and the kind of half work where you're thinking, is that level meant to be like that? And you're kind of going backwards through things. It was a different time on it.
I always say these kids nowadays ain't got a clue.
They really don't. No.
So what started the blog off then? Was that something quite fun, or was it just a case of you wanted to start sort of building a bit of community? What was the thought behind it?
So there was a few reasons behind it, really. So I'd been writing. I kind of had a passion for writing about football, but it's so hard to get your foot in the door anywhere. So I was writing this mostly about Newcastle and that kind of thing. And people who were reading it were saying, this is really good, but it wasn't going anywhere because, Twitter's great, but if you've only got 100 followers, that's a maximum. Kind of a maximum who can say that. So I'd been playing a lot of Champman and was actually talking to some mates in a pub over Christmas where we used to play this game obviously years ago, and we're saying, I've got this game going and I'm 10, 15 seasons in, and joking he's the Inter Milan manager, we're all having a good laugh about how stupid it was. And we just had that kind of light bulb moment. I said, maybe I should document some of this. So I decided in the new year I was going to start blogging this and start and build up a following, if you like, and then keep my writing going on the side, and then hopefully there'll be more of an audience there. And it's done, far better than I ever thought it would, because this was going back maybe 6 years now, and I thought, never thought I'd still be doing it now. I thought it might be a passing fancy, but if people like reading it and I like doing it, then why not? So
what's the following like? Is there a bit of a cult? Is there a bit of community? And I know I see a lot of 97, 98 Twitter pages and handles, and a couple of my mates I know rave about that champ manager, one of the best ones. So is there a cult following behind it?
Well, when I started, I kind of scouted out what was around then. I was torn between two games. I was playing a lot of 0102 as well, which is, again, is very popular, but it's a bit more recent, so there was actually quite a little following for that already. So I thought, well, I'm going to start my own thing. Yeah. And as you say there now, I'm quite pleased to say there's maybe 20 to 30 dedicated 97, 98 accounts, which just weren't there when I started. So, whether that's coincidence or whether they've just seen what I'm doing and thought, well, let's join in. It's all great as far as I'm concerned. The more the merrier. But it is a nice little community there, and there's people like me who just, I appreciate the new Football Managers. They're great games, but I just don't have the time to sink into, making sure my players are on the right dietary requirements for the pre-season tour and this kind of stuff. So.
It's. I think it's so in depth, and I think it's too much in depth nowadays. For me, I like a simplistic manager game. LMA Manager for me was just simple. You could fly through a season and it was done and dusted. Whereas now, I've attempted the Football Manager and I just can't get into it. I think there's too much information on it.
I only ever get through. I always get it for Christmas because it's like, you probably have the same thing where people are like, what do you want for Christmas? I don't know. Let's get this game every year. Yeah. And when you're off work over that Christmas period, again, pre-child, you could easily get a season done and you have a bit double, kind of toe in the water. Yeah, it's good, but it's it's difficult, and that's back to work, and that's the end of that. And that's kind of the way it's been to me with the newer games. I fully appreciate they are brilliant sims, and if I was 13 or 14, I'd love it because I'd have all the time to sink into it. But it's just not realistic for me now. So I'll always love the series and things, but I can't see us ever doing more than a season or two on the newer versions now.
That's it. So going back, you've been obviously playing it for decades, we'll say. Can you pinpoint like a favourite team or a favourite season you've had, or like an achievement? Like, I think when you're playing a Football Manager game, I know myself, I get right involved, and I sort of think, I took West Ham from mid-table to European champions in 10 years, and that sort of stuff. So have you got like a favourite time you sort of look back at and think, you know what, I'll put that on my CV?
Well, probably pre-blog, I was playing a game as Altrincham, so I don't know how familiar you are with how it works, but for the first season, obviously it's like the teams who started in that season, and then at the end of the first season, one conference team gets promoted, and they've got no players or anything like that, and it's usually Altrincham for some reason. I don't know why, but so I decided I would wait the year, take over as them, and then start a scratch team, if you like. And I took them from obviously nothing through to something like, it must have been a couple of Champions Leagues, about 15 seasons, and that was what kind of prompted us to start the blog. That's where a lot of the stories were coming from. So when I did the blog, I originally said, well, what I want to do is I want to finish the game. So it runs for, I think it's 29 seasons. It's to the end of 2026 season. So I'll do that, and then I can say I've done it, and then it's the game completed. And that was kind of, it started off and things happened that were funny, and then it kind of got a bit surreal because Peter Beardsley just wouldn't retire. So, and it turned out there's a bug in the game where if you shortlist him, they'll stay on forever, essentially. So obviously I made the most of this and had him in the England squad up to the age of 65, and ended up scoring the winner in the World Cup final of 2026 as a 65-year-old. And I thought, well, amazing. You can't write scripts, but I mean that's pretty much ideal ending for a blog.
So what's it like coming to the end of a Football Manager game? Do you get anything, or just a case of you've reached it, start again? To be
honest, it is a bit disappointing because you get a screen that says you've reached the end, and then it just takes you back to like the same screen. So you just continuously keep pressing done and just get the same message. So, I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's nice. You should get something like a telegram from the Queen or something for getting, that kind of thing. It felt like that kind of achievement. But no, it's nice to say I've done it. I don't know if they even have end dates now, but it was just the way they were built back then. So
yeah,
one to say you've done.
Brilliant. I've noticed on your Twitter you're doing a Euro 2097. Explain it for me.
So every year since 2017, we've done a tournament, which is kind of my way of saying thanks to a number of people who help out throughout the year with graphics and blogs and generally just helping me get out there. Even in the early days, there was a lot of help needed to get us anywhere near the following we've got now. So decided to start running a tournament, and the first one had 8 people in it, and it was to celebrate 20 years of the game being released. And then we went to we found a way to get 16 players in the game. So we did World Cup 98 in 2018. Last year we did like a total draft system, which nearly killed me. So this year we've done Euro 2097. So we took the draw for Euro 2020 when it was going to happen this year.
Yeah.
And we basically got the squads from 97, 98 and made the kind of reverse draw that way. So we put 24 managers in a hat and drew them out against teams, and that's all kicking off this week. So there's a lot of work goes into it, but I say it's I always like to finish what would have been the season with a tournament.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's kind of been scuppered a bit by the whole COVID thing, but we're going to stick with it, and we'll run it till the middle of June, and then hopefully real football will come back anyway. So
yeah,
we'll see where we're at. Yeah. So it's good.
It sounds good, and you can people just catch that on your Twitter?
Yeah, so there'll be there's a blog every day for the next couple of weeks. Without spoiling the illusion, we have to write a lot of it in advance because otherwise I'd be a stressed mess trying to do it every night. So it's been kind of ongoing in the background for a few weeks, but it'll be a new blog every day. And I think the finish date's something like June the 10th. It's a Wednesday anyway, but it's a few weeks away yet.
Brilliant. One of my favourite blogs I've been reading of yours, and I've been totally hooked, is the retirement home.
Oh yeah.
Save you've got going on.
Yeah.
For people who don't know about it, just give us a briefing of what it's about and where you're up to.
Okay, so we started this where we decided we're going to start a scratch team in the database. So we just made the retirement home, and we said we're only going to sign players who are 35 and older. So in season 1, obviously Division 3 with the likes of Mickey Quinn and Kerry Dixon and Dave Besant, I think, was in goal, and it was manageable. We won Division 3 quite easily. As you can expect, it got steadily harder as we went up through the leagues. But we got as far recently as the Premier League, but something like 15 players retired. So we had a mad dash to try and replace them, and obviously didn't work out that well. So it finished with them being relegated back to Division 1, but we've put a little bit of a break on it just while we do this tournament and things, and give me a chance to recharge. But I promise it will be coming back in probably August. So what we're going to do over the summer is I've made a few signings, so we're just going to kind of reveal them on the days over the summer just to keep the interest going, and then ready to go again. Yeah. So
it's a brilliant read every time. I'm subscribed through, so I always get them with the retirement one. I absolutely love it. It actually inspired me. I've just started a FIFA career mode, but what I've done is put the teams in. You can swap the teams about. So for the Premier League, I've put the 92, 93 teams in.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to go with Oldham. Obviously, we can only have 20. There's 22. So I've scrapped Wimbledon, and then I've topped up between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. So I'll just see what's what.
You don't need one, don't we?
You only need one team. So on the back of that, I thought, that'll be a bit of a crack. Let's see how.
That'll be brilliant,
what we can do.
Yeah.
So go on. Sorry.
I was going to look forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, so am I. FIFA rage. That's all I think's going to happen. You got a couple of books out. The World According to 97, 98 and 2000, 2001. What's that about? What was the thought behind it?
Yeah, so after must have been maybe a year or so of doing the blog, I got contacted by a guy who started a publishing agency, and he said, your blogs are great, and I think you could probably make them into a book if you wanted to. So he suggested that we did like a run through of the 97-98 season, and as the background, we were the England manager, and we're going to go to World Cup 98 and see how far we can get. And it was, it cost me nothing except time, so I had nothing to lose, so I just gave it a go. And say that the book's been out, it must be 5 years I think now, and it was never going to be the Times bestseller or anything, but it's done well. People seem to like it, and obviously people like going back to that era and just seeing the type of things that happen and how they did or didn't play out in real life. So it was interesting. So we did a follow-up a couple of years later for, I think it was a 102, whatever the World Cup year was. Yeah, we were in 2002 for England World Cup that year. So yeah, it was just two dead easy books to write, really. It was just kind of like a diary of what goes on.
And I do think a lot of it with the Champ Manager is that nostalgia. Do you know what I mean? And you go back to the late 90s and the early 2000s. It was a great time for football then.
It was.
Players wise, obviously everything about it. Obviously it's changed massively over the years, but I think that you can sort of stamp sort of 97 to say 2003 as as a great time, especially Premier League. Was absolutely brilliant around there, and I think that's what draws people probably to the blog and obviously the game and stuff like that is getting their memories back. When you see a player, or even as a kid, you're obviously playing it, you'll see a player you've signed once and you've picked him out and he scored like 30 goals that season. It's one of the things you tell your mates.
Yeah, no, you're totally right as well. I mean, football in the 90s was so much more enjoyable looking back. I mean, I don't know what it is, whether the fact that, there was only 1 or 2 games on telly in a weekend, I think that kind of helped. I think we probably, in a way, get kind of oversaturated with football at the minute.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good memories from the 90s and the way football was, and I think money's a big thing to do with it as well, but probably a chat for another day. But
yeah, definitely so. It's been absolutely brilliant. Like I say, I absolutely love your blogs. Where can people go to read them, catch up on what you're doing, give us some addresses, website, etc.?
Yeah, so most of the stuff's tweeted out. So the Twitter account is at cm9798, and the website is cm9798.co.uk.
Perfect stuff. Thank you very much, Dave. I'll be keeping an eye out on the Euros and definitely the retirement home.
Oh, thanks very much for having us on. Really enjoyed it.
No worries. Cheers, buddy.